Good evening. Hello, everyone here at the center and those joining us on Zoom. Welcome to the Thursday evening sessions. And here at the center, we have from 6 to 6:30 meditation. So all of us are in the meditation room upstairs for half an hour, and then we come down. So those who are on Zoom are most welcome to also join us for the meditation next time. Anyone here for the first time? Welcome, extra welcome. Anyone on Zoom for the first time? Doesn't look so, maybe one or two. Okay, well, extra welcome for those who are here for the first time. My name is Rona Sweitz, and I've been studying with the Brahma Kumaris, practicing meditation for some 25 plus years. And originally from Holland, where I started with the Brahma Kumaris, and I've been throughout the Caribbean and now since 6 years here in Manhattan. Sharing what I've learned and continuing to learn, continuing to study, continuing to practice, and meeting many different people. Very nice. Tonight's topic is on emotional health, a topic very close to our heart, I guess. Maybe you can show him. Yeah. A topic very close to all of our hearts, emotional health. But before we start, maybe we can start with some minutes of silence. I know the ones in the center have already had half an hour, but a few minutes extra can't hurt, especially not in Manhattan. So let's take a few extra minutes. And in those few moments, just allow the body to be comfortable and relaxed. And let us have the aim to be internally quiet, but at the same time, be fully aware of the surroundings, aware of the atmosphere in the room, aware of the position of the body. Make sure that the feet are flat on the ground, hands relaxed, shoulders relaxed. Become aware of the rhythm of the body inhaling and exhaling. Become aware of the rhythm of the heartbeat. And also become aware of the one who is operating the body. Become aware of the one who is experiencing the bodily sensations. The one who is using the eyes to see, using the ears to hear, the inner being, the being of consciousness, the real self. And we use the image of a tiny star, a being of light, sitting behind the eyes, in the center of the forehead. Using the eyes as windows. And we just hold this awareness that the real me is a being of light. A being of consciousness. A being of peace. And for a few moments, we immerse our mind in these feelings of lightness, of calm, of timelessness. Thank you. Om Shanti. Om Shanti. These words are used within the Brahma Kumaris. They are used as a greeting, but they are also used to reinforce your meditation experience. They are used to remind yourself of who you are and who the other is when you interact. Om means I am a spiritual being, soul, an invisible being of consciousness. Om, Atma Ume, soul is I. And Shanti means peace. So easily translated, I am a peaceful soul. The real self is a being of peace. And in the spiritual understandings, this clarity, this understanding is there that we have forgotten our true selves. We've started to identify with our physical vehicle, and we've started to identify with the form of this vehicle, with the gender of this vehicle, with the color of this vehicle, with the culture and the social context. And we've forgotten that we are invisible experiencers, travelers through time and space, beings of consciousness. And coming back to that awareness and living from that awareness would be spiritually healthy. And when we're spiritually healthy, emotional health becomes almost a natural part of that. Now, health is such a big issue these days, no? You know anyone who is not sick? Never sick? You know anyone who is always, constantly, on all levels healthy? Even the WHO has this definition of health that is not just physical health. It is emotional health. It includes mental health. It includes it includes social health also. So when we are on many different levels balanced, that would be a much better representation of health. But today we are going to zoom in into this whole area of emotional health. So what would you call, or what would be the characteristics of someone who is emotionally healthy? Or awareness of true self and sense of stability. Not depressed. Not depressed. Okay. At peace. At peace. Healthy relationship with acceptance. Any other thoughts? What would be characteristics of someone who is emotionally healthy?
Someone who
Would
has
be
control
happy and peaceful, loving. A good influence on others, balanced, optimistic. Very good. Someone is saying they're not reacting, has control of the mind. So they're writing does not react but responds, one who remains stable in front of adverse situation. And I would actually, this is good, I would add to it someone who is optimistic, someone who is balanced, someone who is peaceful, happy, even under provocation. That would be a sign of real health. Because many of us can be peaceful when we are in peaceful surroundings. Many of us can be happy when people around you treat you well, they are loving, they take care of you, they do everything well. If you can still not be happy and peaceful, something definitely very much off then, but it is easy when surroundings are pleasant. But when they are not, when they are provoking, when somebody pushing your buttons, and you can still be balanced, that is a sign of health, emotional health. We don't have any buttons here, no, in Manhattan. No buttons to be pushed. Now, this is one way to check for yourself how emotionally healthy I am. And even if your button is pushed, how much is the recovery time? That is also another sign. You know, sometimes somebody says something off and then 6 weeks you can't sleep. That is definitely a sign that you really need to look into this. So what is the recovery time when you are shaken? For this, it is very useful to know a little bit about our emotional landscape and how the psyche works. What are the triggers, and what nurtures the peace and the stability, and what trips it. What do you think nurtures emotional stability? Good experiences. Affirmations. Someone there is saying regular yoga, regular meditation. Very good. Regular. Emphasis on regular. Good company. Very good. Very good. Spiritual company, good company. So what kind of thoughts nurture your emotional health? Less thoughts, good thoughts, positive thoughts, constructive thoughts. Very good. Yeah, because it is not necessarily less thinking. Because even if there's less thinking, but if it is a depressed state, it is a kind of a maybe less thoughts, but they're not very healthy, whatever the thoughts are. Yes? So how can you nurture that? Someone here is saying you have to know who you are. Someone here is saying you have to be compassionate to yourself. But if you can be compassionate to yourself, it already means you're healthy. How to nurture that? How do we nurture that? Being in nature, very good. Being in nature is one way to nurture it. Buying yourself flowers. Buying yourself flowers. All of these things help, no? But deeper nurture, structural nurture, has to do, what helps in that is having moments, regular moments of silence and reflection. And reflections on what is my purpose, what is my aim, long term and short term. What are my values? What are my principles? What are useful actions and what are not? What are useful thoughts and what are not? And in this context, keeping a diary. Not a diary, oh, I had pizza at 6 o'clock and I have the dentist appointment at 8. But a diary about your reflection, about your observations, about your lessons, life's lessons. A diary is a very useful thing. Our diary keeping a track on the quality of your thinking and the quality of your actions. For example, how many completely selfless actions have you performed today? And write down. How many acts of kindness did I do today? And the writing it down helps you reflect and check yourself. When someone pushes the button, write down what is it that pushed the button, and actually what was the button that was there to be pushed. Because if there's no button, they can be however they are, but they are not pushing my button. So what is that button that is there that was pushed? And how did I respond to that? What way did I respond? So observing the self and learning lessons are ways. Taking time for reflection, but also identifying your aim and your purpose. Identifying your deeper sense of identity. These are all things that nurture. One way to also diagnose the quality, the level of emotional health is, do you respond to situations based upon your memories of the past, or do you respond to situations based on your vision of the future? So, for example, someone is not nice to you, says something that was not so pleasant. Is my response to that based on what I thought of that person from past experiences? Or is my response based on what I hope that relationship will be in the future? If it is based on the past, most probably it will be this person always like that. They no good. They will never change. Not useless. They should get a good, what is it? A good slap. But if I think, no, hope for tomorrow is that we will at least be decent with each other. The hope for tomorrow is that we will at least be able to work together or whatever in a respectful manner. Then what should my response be now? An emotionally healthy person is not overwhelmed by a reaction to negative situations. An emotionally healthy person doesn't sidetrack his common sense, doesn't sidetrack his intelligence, because we do respond, but we should respond intelligently, not overwhelmed by some fear or anger or irritation. Now, how can we have a bit more control over this? Because sometimes it appears that we act out of impulse. We just blow up. And then we think, isn't that what everybody does? And we think they deserve it. They are nasty. Of course, I should lash out. Otherwise, they will continue to bully me. Otherwise, they will continue to walk all over me. So how can we have a bit more control? If somebody is not nice and I get angry, who benefits from that? No one. Is it useful for me to get angry? Does it really help? Maybe, for now. But when I turn my back, they might even stab me in the back. Getting angry or raising my voice doesn't really help. Even if they do what I want now, it is just because they are scared. But the moment they are in a different position, they will still undermine me. So you haven't won over their heart. So getting annoyed, getting angry, getting worried, who suffers? Yeah, the person that worries and gets angry. Yeah. And doing that, you become more emotionally unhealthy. And physically. It has its impact physically also. Now, why are we acting like that if it is not very sensible? Ego. Ego feels hurt. Ego gets scratched. Ego is defending itself at the detriment of the self. Now, where do emotions come from? Yeah, they originate in our thoughts and our thought patterns. And our thoughts and our thought patterns come from deeper impressions, deeper habits, deeper inclinations that we have formed over time, or they come from sense impulses. Now, you would be surprised how much you pick up from watching some social media video. Subconsciously, it goes in. You see some situation and you're subconsciously you learn from that interaction that is played out. And it is almost as if you feel it and it gets recorded. You see something, someone doing something or saying something or responding in a certain way, it goes in. See it again, it goes in deeper. See it again, it goes in deeper. Then you get a thought and you do it, it becomes definitely your habit now. So one way that these emotions come in is by what we see and perceive through our senses. And what is already stored from the past, that also bombards your mind with thoughts and emotions. Now, how to make it healthy? Create new thought patterns and put a filter in between what your senses perceive. And so you see something, but you don't have to absorb it. You see something, you don't have to create thoughts about it. You hear something, you don't need to think about what they're talking about. Put a filter. And that filter is your common sense. That filter is your discerning power. Is this useful to store or not? You know, there is one mental power that is very useful. You know which mental power? Memory. Yeah, but there are many power. Which one mental power is very useful in this case? Maybe discernment. It is part of it, yes. The power to pack up. You know, packing up. The image that you can use is your mind, and your subconscious is like a suitcase. So how much junk you want to put in your suitcase? One time, I was traveling with a group of 4, and one was an elderly lady in her early 80s. And I was the youngest one of the company at that time. And we went from the Caribbean to London, to Paris, to India, and then back to Holland, and then back to the Caribbean. And in all those places, we went all over to different centers. And she had 2 huge suitcases, and her trolley and her handbag. So she can't manage that. So who has to help her? I have to help her. So I help her, and I carry her 2 suitcases and my small bag all over London, Paris, wherever we went. Okay, fine. We had a great time. We come back to where we lived, and she said to me, it was such a great vacation, and I did not use most of the things in the suitcases. One suitcase she did not touch at all, she said. And the other suitcase, only half of the things she used. How much energy was spent carrying the whole thing all over the place, and it wasn't needed at all. This is obvious. We don't want to do this, no? We need the power and the wisdom to pack our bags. No, we need the power and the wisdom to pack up here too. What do you store in your mind and your subconscious? What do you allow to come in and to settle in there? How much junk you're carrying around all the time? And that decides your mood. That decides the feelings and the emotions inside. That also decide how you respond. Now you're sitting here now. Here in the meditation center, there, wherever you're sitting at home or listening on Zoom, you're sitting here. What is going on at the back of your mind? Where you will have dinner, maybe? You have an appointment at 8:30 somewhere, maybe? Or is in the back of your mind some situation from work going on, and your boss who is demanding some deadline to be finished tonight? One sign of this power to pack up is that you pack up. You left the job, no more thoughts of job. You're here now, fully here. You go from here to meeting friends, fully with friends. You go from friends home, sleep, fully sleep, not dreaming of some project going on here and there. That is this power to pack up. Don't carry junk around in your head. You see something, you don't need to think about it. You hear something, you observe, but you don't need to think about it. Create thoughts, and IDs and the whole thing becomes like a whole clutter and it just gets stored. This habit of just being impressionable all the time. We are not, what is this thing called? Dustbins. Why collecting rubbish all over? Let's go to the board. Anyone want to say anything so far? You mind speaking in the mic?
Just a question, but you can answer at the end. So I want to hear about like emotional independence and how to be emotionally independent, not out of the fear that
Not out of?
not out of the fear that in future I might get hurt, but also be able to relate to people, but at the same time independent, like not give them the power to control you.
I'll give an example that someone once shared with me, and then we can discuss this in more detail using this example. So say this is who's this? This is Jimmy. Jimmy has come from where, the Midwest, to study in Columbia University. He's coming to study what? Civil engineering. I don't know if they can study that there, but civil engineering. He's very excited. Beginning of a year, beginning of a new phase in life. Excited and happy and full of enthusiasm. And this is Jimmy. And there is Elizabeth. Elizabeth is an arts student. And she's very, can you see? Elizabeth is very artistic and also first year, Elizabeth came from DC. She came to study here, also excited, very inspired and happy, and she likes the New York vibe and the freedom. Nice. And Elizabeth likes to give expression to her artisticity, also in her physical appearance. So one day she paints her hair with red polka dots. Another day she paints it green. Polka dots, red polka dots with green stripes. No? Jimmy, he finds it amusing, artistic, creative, but it doesn't affect his mood. He is okay, he's happy, fine. He sees all this, he's amused at the most, but it doesn't affect him emotionally. It doesn't affect his, he's not scared of it or anything, just amused. After 2 years, Jimmy and Elizabeth, they know each other better, they become friends, and after 4 years, they are married. Now, one day, Elizabeth comes home, half shave her head, purple polka dots, and yellow stripes. Will Jimmy still be emotionally totally unaffected? Chances are he will not be. And that night, he had a special event with his future boss, some dinner with the company, and they are looking into prospects of hiring him, and they all have to come with their partner. And she comes home like this. Will he be totally unaffected? Most probably not. What has happened? 4 years ago, he thought this was cute and amusing. Very good. His expectations changed. Why?
Because he's
Does
a
he have a
husband.
marriage certificate? Inside, this is what happens with us. We are free, but we create expectations based on our belief. Somehow, some belief is there that now this person is mine. Now this person belongs to me. This person is a reflection of me. This person is now in charge to make me happy or sad. I'm simplifying it, but you understand what is happening. In the beginning, there was no problem. It was even cute and interesting. 4 years later, with a whole bunch of expectations and desires, those expectations are now what makes me emotionally in jail. Means the other person decides whether I'm happy or sad. The other person hasn't asked to be in charge of my happiness or peace, but I have given away that key through my expectations, through my desires. This is like a prison, no? A prison officer decides whether you are happy or not. This is emotional prison. And we do this all the time. We do this all the time. Parents-child relationship, this is what you see. Huge expectations from how the children have to be, how the children should be, how the children... My father used to want me to be an astronaut. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? And he used to fight with me because he used to feel I'm intelligent enough. Whether I am or not, the question is, do I want to be an astronaut, go walk on the moon? It was his dream. And he projected it on children. And his expectations of us made him unhappy, disillusioned. Both of us, my brother and we were not dumb, but we didn't aspire to be astronauts. So he inside was disillusioned. He accepted after some time, but I remember, but I'm just giving this silly example, but this is what happens. Sometimes we don't even know people. Beforehand, we already having so many expectations and desire, and that is like a bondage in jail. And then we are emotionally trapped. The behavior of that person decides whether I feel good or not. The behavior of that person decides how I behave or not. And I'm giving this example because this is very clear, but it can even be a thing. It can even be a position or a certain possession. We have certain expectations, and that decides what we feel and think inside. Now, how can we not get into this trap? Because I don't doubt there is love. There is love, but on top of that love, we put this label, you are mine. Mine. No? And because mine, we also put certain expectation and requirement. And when they are not fulfilled, we are disillusioned. And what do we do then? You did not meet my expectations, so you are wrong. We blame. We blame. And this is why sometimes, people who love each other, 2 years later, they hate each other. Not because that love was not there initially, but we did not held on to that cleanliness of that love. We let it contaminate with our desires that are coming from our own selfish and insecure needs and egos. And we project that on others. They are who they are anyway. They will behave how they behave anyway. Why does my sense of value and respect and principle get compromised because of that? Because we are empty inside. Again, I am exaggerating to clarify the dynamics. If we approach this world and life in the consciousness of extra, no, I am full, I am complete, I am whole, and everything is extra. That is a much healthier approach. Then every interaction becomes an extra gift. I don't need anything, but it is nice. It's an extra gift, interaction. But to come from that space of fullness, we need to nurture that through self-knowledge, through self-awareness, through meditation, through reflection, through study, to practice. This inner fullness. Now, in this world, the model that is quite common that we have of life is when we are born at a certain moment in time, and consciously, subconsciously, what we are told, what we are shown, you are nothing and you are no one. And over time, you become someone by what you can accumulate, whom you can accumulate around you, position you can attain, possessions you can attain. I become someone. My value and my sense of self-respect is based, and my sense of self is based on what I can accumulate, whom I have around me, what the body is like, and what the body can feel, appearance. I become someone. And this is why also we have absolute fear of the moment of death, because all of this will not be there anymore then. I'm back to nothingness and no oneness. The spiritual model is quite different. The spiritual model says you are a pure, perfect, complete, timeless, immortal, godlike, spiritual being, a soul. And you are that forever. And this spiritual being, for a temporary period, comes into a body, into a womb, associates with a body, and starts a temporary experience in this physical human world. And in this physical human world, there are many toys and many gifts. Body itself is a toy to play with. Other situation, nice to play with. And when the experience ends, you remain what you always were. A pure, peaceful, immortal, godlike spiritual being of light. So this becomes an extra experience or an extra gift. Now, which mindset is more useful? Which mindset is more healthy? Which mindset will make more healthy emotions? Now, the aim of Raj Yoga, as is taught by the Brahma Kumaris, is to shift from a model to life that is like this to a model to life that is this. We are as if invisible guests in this world. And we are eternal, immortal being, timeless, beings of peace. We get this body on loan. No? Just like you go to the library, you take a book. You can use it, but it is not yours. You can still use it, enjoy it, read it. You can read with it together with others if you want to. But at some moment in time, you have to give back. It is not yours. Body is same. Extra experience. If we live in this mindset, then every situation is nice, extra. What is it? Different variety of experiences. This will create an approach where there is no expectation or much less. No prison officer in charge of my feelings. You want to say anything? Ask anything? You have to put it on, yeah.
Just for me, as you were describing that, I felt a lot of emotion. So I don't know why. Was that disappointing to me, or I don't want to say hurtful, but I got a strong emotional.
Pleasant or unpleasant? Or just unknown?
I guess, unknown.
Yeah.
I think I was a little disappointed, but it made sense. I like it, but there was some sorrow or maybe a
Yeah.
loss of something. So I
Yeah.
think I just felt like I needed to say that because it was pretty strong.
Yeah. Yeah. When we are confronted or when we hear certain deeper truths or certain deeper concepts, it can stir up things from the past or impressions inside. First of all, this moment, this word death in itself generate for a lot of people all kinds of emotions. This deeper sense of potential loss doesn't sit comfortable with many of us. This is why also part of emotional health is to broaden our perspective and to begin to see what is this phenomena of birth and what is this phenomena of death truly. Spirituality tells us it's just the beginning and the end of an experience. But I do not die. The soul. Body is just like a vehicle, has a beginning and a vehicle has an end. But the driver doesn't die with the end of the car. Just gets out of the car, maybe take another car or maybe walk. So these kinds of phenomena can stir up emotions and feelings and fear or insecurities, but they are part of our life's experiences. So to create a perspective on life where you can have at least a sense of serenity and peace and acceptance is much more healthy than a feeling of fear and anxiety.
So I was thinking that we are living around our close people, relatives, and to even say that hey, I am complete, I don't need you, but I want you, something like that. It seems a little too harsh, right? So I'm thinking about an alternative. In some traditions, they say that you be in that world and you act, right? You don't take things seriously, but you act, right?
You don't say I don't need you, but emotionally, you're independent. No, a healthy relationships means you enjoy when the person is there, but you don't suffer when they're not there. And you don't necessarily go out and say that because the ego feels squashed. But we need to kind of redefine our understandings of love, because true love empowers, not disempowers. If there is truly love, it would mean we become stronger with each other or without each other. But if I now cannot live because you are not there, I am actually weaker. Then your presence and your company hasn't strengthened me. It has actually weakened me because now I can't be without you. Understand? No. Yeah, how it would work. Yeah, I'll give an example. My father, no, and or my parents both. I have learned so much from them, and they have shown me so many things, and they have given me so much, and they have taught me how to make choices. So when they are not there, I can still make good choices because they taught me. And I feel that is a sign of love. What they have given me has enriched me so that I can live a fuller life. But if they are not there, I don't feel miserable. Actually, I feel that I'm living the vision that they held for me. And they would be happy. Well, my mother is happy anyway. My father's not there anymore in that form because soul is still there, ongoing. So I also don't feel he is gone. That soul is still there, ongoing on his journey. And we met at a certain moment in time for a period of time, and it has enriched me so much. Why should I be sad? Why should I be missing? If I'm missing, it means something he has not done. And I feel he has done more than I could have ever wanted. But reflect on this concept of the true self, a spiritual being, innately complete, innately whole, and to come back again to that state of awareness and to start experiencing that. Of course, there are different levels to that also. It's just like the initial step. But as long as I feel what was his name again? Jimmy? Jimmy and Elizabeth. If Jimmy feels that his value depends on her and her behavior, he is in prison. He's in bondage. Yeah. Codependent. Oh.
But in your formula, she's considered an extra at the bottom? Not at the bottom,
She,
because you're going to
she's an extra gift in his life's journey. Yeah. But he is also an extra gift in her life's journey. Yeah. 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 Every moment is a gift. Every interaction is a gift. An extra gift. So you appreciate, you love, you enjoy. But when it is not there, you're not miserable or sitting crying. Anyway, these are things to reflect on. Not only to reflect on, play with this. Play with this in your everyday life. Use the early morning to come back to that deeper sense of complete self, a whole being, a being of peace, a traveler through time and space, being that is spiritual in nature. And on that journey, we have different interactions and experiences that we value, that we appreciate, that there are certain dynamics in those interactions, and you have certain commitments also. But still, if it is not there, you continue to exist and you go on with the journey. And every interaction, let it enrich you instead of, what is the opposite? Impoverish you by getting mine. Stay here, don't go anywhere. Otherwise, I'll be miserable. Okay, let's close with some let's just take a few moments and use this power to pack up, full stop. Aware of this present moment, aware of the position of the body, aware of the atmosphere in the room, but also aware of the real self, the being of consciousness, the one who creates thoughts, has feelings, the invisible experiencer, the soul. In the image of a tiny star sitting behind the eyes, in the center of the forehead, pure, peaceful, timeless, living light. The soul. And just fill the mind for a few moments with light and silence. The real self is like a tiny star, living light. Innately peaceful. Free. Timeless. Pure. Immortal soul. You. Om Shanti. On the